welcome everybody. This is Unraveling the Unexplained. My name is Kat, and I am a longtime astral traveler and spirit consultant. This is my brother John, a longtime fan of the paranormal and the creepy. Well, he's going to pick a video about the paranormal and show it to me sight unseen and get basically my hot take as somebody who interacts with a lot of the paranormal on what it is we think we're looking at. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Reckon with the agents of the unknown, biologists regularly identify new species following established scientific methodology. Conversely, cryptozoologists focus on entities mentioned in folklore record and rumor. Famous cryptids you might be familiar with include Bigfoot, Chupacabra, and the Loch Ness Monster. But the one we'll be focusing on today are much less harmless by comparison. Today, on Scream to Screen, we're dissecting the chilling history and urban legend of Fresno nightcrawlers and attempt to shine a light on the authenticity of these pants-like creatures. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to Graveyard Shift for more creepy content.
So I am a fan of and interested in cryptids. I know it's a big thing for you. I am not going to lie, I have never heard of the pant-like creatures called the Fresno crawlers.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to cover them, because they're not as well known as the big names like Bigfoot or Nessie, you know. Not as many people know about the Fresno nightcrawlers, aka the pants.
They have, okay, let's just get into it. But I'm intrigued now. The pant-like creatures.
We'll cover some of the big
names. And let us know in the comments what sinister stories you want to hear next.
Sinister pants. I'm into this story.
Cryptids are animals whose existence have yet to be substantiated or proven fact, and are presumed by followers of the cryptozoology pseudoscientific subculture to exist on the basis of anecdotal or other evidence considered insufficient by mainstream science. Given the mysterious nature of these beings, cryptids are often accompanied by some sort of urban legend or folklore explaining their origins. The Fresno nightcrawler, also known as the Fresno alien, is a cryptid that has surfaced in various surveillance footage through Fresno, California, and Yosemite National Park. Fresno nightcrawlers appear to be relatively short, no more than 1.5 meters tall, with most of their height made up by their legs, as they possess extremely small upper bodies. They are extremely thin, white humanoid creatures with two beady black eyes, and no discernible arms and webbing connected from each knee to the torso. Their odd shape and stature have earned them the playful nickname Haunted Pants. Unlike most cryptids, which are primarily spotted traveling alone, Fresno nightcrawlers seem to be specifically traveling in pairs. Of the few sightings that have occurred, these mysterious creatures have always been accompanied by a smaller, slower crawler, which suggests a parent-child dynamic. One is simply dominant over the other. With so little known about these night-walking weeble-wobbles, anything can be possible. In 2004, a 17-year-old motorist allegedly saw a strange entity walking along the side of the road while driving one night in Manchester, Indiana. According to the motorist, the creature was thin with long legs and looked humanoid without being truly human. His description matched what would later be known as Fresno nightcrawlers, with one main difference. The creature was over 6 feet tall. No photos or video evidence was captured during the encounter. But a second car also passed the figure, and its 2 elderly passengers corroborated with the motorist's story. All 3 parties agreed that what they had witnessed was not human, and quite possibly otherworldly. The first real recorded sighting, and thus the first piece of evidence of Fresno nightcrawlers, occurred in Fresno, California in 2007, by a homeowner known simply as Jose. Wanting to know why his dogs bark so much at night, Jose set up a security camera above his garage, expecting to uncover an intruder or a wild animal in the footage. What he found instead shocked him enough to call the police. The footage showed a pair of strange small creatures staggering across his property. Neither Jose's family nor the police could figure out what these creatures were. Soon after, Jose brought his findings to television network Univision looking for answers. The network...
It is, and admittedly that's not the greatest video footage I've ever seen, right? But I can see how it doesn't look right for sure.
Yeah,
looking at it,
the motion is weirdly jerky. It's clearly not a proper humanoid shape. It looks like a pair of weird white flat legs just across the...
I can see how that's it would certainly disturb me if I saw that in my Ring camera. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Then contacted known paranormal investigator Victor Camacho to analyze the original surveillance footage, who presented it to the Mutual UFO Network, or MOFON, a US-based nonprofit organization composed of civilian volunteers who study reported UFO sightings. Despite the room full of experts, no one could agree on Jose's experience and determined the authenticity of his footage to be inconclusive. Regardless, this investigation garnered national attention once the media got a hold of Jose's findings, and the Fresno nightcrawlers became a phenomenon overnight. The second sighting took place in March 2011, 60 miles from Fresno, when Yosemite National Park officials set up cameras in an attempt to catch trespassers that had been damaging property. Again, security footage captured images of pale, small, and armless creatures wobbling down a park path. And again, once the media got their hands on the footage, interest in these mysterious beings peaked, with much speculation as to where they came from and what, if anything, did they want. Fact or faked? The weirdness surrounding this urban legend was enough to grab the attention of sci-fi television series Fact or Faked, where paranormal experts set out to debunk their existence. In the show's second episode of the first season, analysts attempt to recreate the videos using various known hoax techniques, but were met with failure. In the end, they determined the footage was too difficult, if not impossible, to fake, and the existing video evidence was in fact authentic.
I don't doubt that
In December 2014,
I don't doubt that at least original footage is authentic, especially this old footage. Like, this is an old guy with a security camera. It's not like it was made yesterday. You know what I mean? It would, and if you were going to fake aliens, I don't think this would be the...
This would be like the weirdest way to go about it. Weird walking pants? How?
Yeah, I'm not sure that this is what somebody would come up with, so I don't doubt the authenticity of the video. I think it would also be pretty hard to, considering Yosemite is a national park and this is a national park security system. Like, this isn't like somebody's home footage. This is,
Yeah.
It was found by a state park service. So
who the heck's breaking into Yosemite?
Who's breaking into Yosemite State Park Service
to try and make pants walk around?
Right. I feel like that's also probably unlikely. Do you know what I mean?
A 60-year-old ex-Marine and his wife were driving home in Carmel, Ohio, when they came up over a hill and saw a 7-foot-tall, slender, gray creature. This new creature, that quickly became known as the Carmel area creature, perhaps be the same as the one spotted by a startled motorist in Indiana just 10 years prior, but many believe it to be a distant cousin of the Fresno nightcrawler. Despite its difference in height, color, and muscular size, the Carmel area creature resembles the Fresno nightcrawler in shape and its odd movement utilizing backward bending knees. Because of their similarities, many have concluded that these two cryptids are connected in some way. The most recent record sighting of these nocturnal cryptids occurred just last year on April 25, 2020, in Billings, Alabama. In the video, a nightcrawler briefly shows up on CCTV footage before they scare... A shocking twist to this story is the deer carcass that was reportedly uncovered not far from the footage was captured, according to the original video's description. Several ideas have been tossed around in an attempt to identify Fresno nightcrawlers, from a new species of primate with short arms to a person wearing big pants and walking on stilts, but none have cemented in viable explanation. One of the most prevailing theories is that this unidentified species is alien. Although they mimic people, many analysts believe that they are too small and move too awkwardly to be human. Based on their appearance, they don't resemble any known terrestrial entities either. Theorists hypothesize that they are otherworldly beings here to study human life, as they don't seem to steal anything or cause harm to people or animals. Whatever they're here for, many believe they come in peace, and may even be playful if anybody could encounter them in person. Another popular theory suggests that Fresno nightcrawlers are straight out of Native American lore. According to the tribe members living near Fresno, nightcrawlers have lived on Earth long before human beings came along. These myths indicate that their long leg-to-body ratio allows them to move through boggy landscapes, making them swamp-like beings. Legend has it that these cryptids are part of our world as sort of a peacekeeper in order to rebuild a connection between human beings and our natural surroundings. While many people like to believe the folklore surrounding nightcrawlers, the most common sense belief is that they are simply a hoax. Additional video evidence of Fresno nightcrawler sightings have surfaced all over the world since 2007, including in Poland in 2017. But the majority of these videos have either been debunked or are widely accepted as fake in some way. One common theory is that the videos have been altered using CGI, with one YouTuber even demonstrating how this could be done. But the nightcrawler's movements look so organic that it would be a decent amount of skill to reproduce convincingly, albeit not impossible. Still, skeptics of this theory believe the existing videos to be too realistic to be computer-generated animation. Another popular hoax theory that would be easier to pull off by the common person is that of puppetry. The topic has been much debated, but there have been some compelling evidence backing this argument. Even though the fact or fake hosts were unable to reproduce the video successfully, all they proved is that they shouldn't pursue careers in puppetry. YouTuber Para Breakdown, on the other hand, was able to recreate the nightcrawler's look.
No, that's not very nice, is it?
I guess what it's trying to say is that if you're really skilled at puppetry, you can make some pretty realistic puppets.
But I think that's fair.
I think that still brings us back to your point of who out there is a master puppet maker that decided to suddenly make a alien fake video of walking pants.
Yeah, Sassery got bored.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. Yeah, I kind of doubt that master puppetry people are so bored that you're making walking pants just to scare Jose, the local guy, on his CCTV footage at night that he may not even pull, right? Like,
yeah, like the Jim Henson Studios just got so desperate for attention they decided to go and break into Yosemite.
Right. And Jim Henson got bored, so decided to see if he could spook Yosemite security guards. I mean, I don't know.
I'm sure somebody good enough could reproduce the effect, but how many people with those skill sets are also deciding to go out and do that?
Right.
Fairly effectively in his own backyard using wires and puppet mastery. Similar to the hoax theory, the theory of mistaken identity assumes nightcrawlers don't exist, but are instead animals being misidentified due to low video quality and sightings occurring in the middle of the night. Advocates of this theory generally claim that the images captured on CCTV are not haunted pants from outer space, but simply primates with short arms or gazelles standing upright. The final conclusion theorists have drawn to
Am I the only one who thinks that gazelles suddenly standing upright and walking across your lawn is just as odd as haunted pants? I think that's just as unlikely as haunted pants.
And it's like I don't care how blurry the CCTV footage is, that ain't a deer or a gazelle or a baboon with weird arms.
It would be strange if there was a baboon with no arms in Fresno, California. Anyway, like I don't know.
People are reaching with those.
People are reaching. I think that's a gazelle decided to walk upright with a gazelle with no arms decided to walk upright and extremely long legs and no torso gazelles.
Yeah.
Mutant gazelles decided to walk upright. Some of the rational theories sound
as crazy
less
as any
rational
other.
than just admitting
is that they belong to a
is.
new unidentified species. Something yet to be discovered, but still comes from Earth. This theory would help us make sense of the Fresno nightcrawler's odd stature and awkward gait. But a new species evolving and living on land is likely not something that would be unnoticed. While nightcrawlers are very young when it comes to cryptids and sightings are limited, these creatures have found a home in the hearts of Fresno natives and online mystery seekers. Unlike many cryptids, there have been no reported behaviors that gives any indication that nightcrawlers have ill intent toward humans and appear to be shy and even a bit playful. So, what do you think? Are Fresno nightcrawlers a hoax or another one of life's greatest mysteries? What other cryptids, if any, have more plausible backstories proving their existence? Don't forget to like and subscribe to Graveyard Shift
We
for
will,
all.
we will like and subscribe, my friends, and we will also
Indeed.
link the video in the description if you guys want to check out this channel. There's a bunch of other videos on here too. I'm sure we'll end up watching more of them at some point.
Indeed.
So, cryptids,
So,
right?
yeah, your take.
I have considered the question of cryptids, right? Like, how is it? So, because the big problem of it is, if it is something real, how is it here and we don't know what it is?
Right.
Like, if this is an actual thing, then why? How do we not have any evidence of it? Where's the bodies or dens or
If it's an actual physical species living on Earth, it would have to be like exceedingly rare, or
right? Why
living
have we
in
never seen
places
anything like that?
where people go so infrequently that they're just not encountered very often.
Right. So it feels very difficult to give it any kind of gravity. I've considered it, and the best theory that I have, and again, this is my hot take, take it with a grain of salt, is, so you and I have discussed before, probably not yet on the channel, I'm sure we'll get around to it sometime, how it is possible, especially at night, especially when you're traveling, for humans, to, how you shift? You can shift into, like, let's say you're driving and suddenly you don't recognize where you are all of a sudden.
You kind of went on autopilot.
Yeah, but then you're like, wait, where am I? I don't know where I am.
Mm-hmm.
This road doesn't seem right. Dad has an instance where that happened to him, where he was driving and suddenly he was on a road he didn't recognize.
Yeah.
I think it's possible that for us, like, the reality that we're experiencing is really only a question of perspective, like what perspective we're focused on. Reality all happens on top of itself, it's all simultaneous. And I think when we get into states like light hypnotic states, like when you're driving at night or traveling at night, you can get yourself into a state where, for whatever reason, you shift frequencies momentarily. Suddenly you find yourself on a road, you don't know where you are, or you end up getting somewhere and you don't remember how you got there. So we can shift frequencies briefly if we get ourselves into a right kind of state.
Yeah.
And I was considering, like, what if we're not the only species that can do that? Like, what if it's possible that either the person, or in this case, when you're catching stuff on video, the creature in question was walking along at night, ended up shifting frequencies, and suddenly was like, I don't know where I am. Why am I suddenly in this environment? And the more I thought about it, I was like, it might explain some of the wild behavior. Like, some cryptid encounters, you find they attack people or vehicles wildly,
or do all sorts of other random shit.
Right. Like they're not in their own environment, like they feel freaked out or something. Like Mothman is like, why are you attacking cars? It probably doesn't know what cars are. You know what I mean? So I've considered the possibility or the theory that just like we sometimes slip realities briefly, we end up in a different frequency of reality if we end up in a light hypnotic state. So it's possible that other species out there do the same thing, yeah. And end up slipping briefly into our reality and feeling just disoriented, like, where the hell are we? What is this?
So you think it's a situation of like momentary accidental shifting from wherever they are to briefly being here?
Right. That's the best working theory I have based on what I know about how reality works.
Yeah, because it's like you got a whole set of theories concerning UFOs and what those are about. We
will definitely hit upon some UFO videos at some point, I'm sure.
But like in brief, because my thought was like, we're talking about with UFOs things that are shifting from that reality into this reality intentionally. Would it be possible that certain cryptids are a similar thing where there's an intentional shift in an attempt to kind of...
Possibly, but I think really the only delineation between really between cryptids and what we call aliens is the animal-like behavior. So aliens feel intentioned because they seem to be doing something intentionally. Do you know what I mean?
Vehicles and all that.
Right. Or they're interacting in some way or doing something. These seem to be more animalistic behaviors. They're just crossing a field, or they're discovered in the woods, or they're out somewhere. They tend to have more animalistic type of behavior, instinctual type of behaviors that sort of make it feel less intentional and more accidental that something like this occurs.
So would you think that like they're fundamentally different entities than whatever's responsible for UFOs then?
I think so. Again, it depends on the individual one and what you're
Well, there's a whole
talking about.
yeah,
Yeah, it
there's a whole
depends
bunch
on
of
what you're.
different kinds.
I think certainly the behavior that we're witnessing from the adorable walking pants certainly seems to be just
I
they're
guess I'm here now.
not mutilating cattle, and they're not probing you, and they're not, you know what I mean? They're just walking across. Yeah, it seems very just like a deer or a gazelle might cross your yard or walk down, try to cross a street and
It's
be
just in this
confused.
particular instance, instead of a deer, it's weird, pale walking pant things.
Precisely. And I don't know if that makes them not alien. I mean, if it is a living biological from a world and or dimension that's not our own, I suppose it's alien, right? I mean,
Yeah,
define alien.
you start getting
So,
there's a kind of spectrum of terms there, I suppose, that because I guess extraterrestrial specifically supposed to represent anything that isn't terrestrial. So other planet, other dimension, same difference.
right. Well, I mean, is it? I don't know. Again, there's a lot of different words for it, and I think we're starting to get into, at least some of my theories get into a sphere of speculation and theorizing that there's not really words for at this
Yeah.
point, I think. But yeah, that's the best I've got on theories about cryptid, is that some of them I think may just accidentally may slip into our frequency of reality briefly, almost unintentionally.
And some must be more common than others, considering some cryptids are much bigger names and get far more encounters.
Well, I think that we also do that as a society. Like once Bigfoot is pretty well ingrained, so now anything that creaks in the woods might be Bigfoot, and
Anytime you
Bigfoot
see a weird shape in the forest that you're not sure what it was, it's a Bigfoot.
and Bigfoot is one of those that gets faked because it is a big name. You know what I mean? So people do make
The
fake
more
videos
famous it
about
is, the
that.
harder it is to even sift out anything that might be more legitimate as opposed to hoax.
Correct. So with things like Bigfoot, it's always subject to. I mean, some people are faking Bigfoot. You know what I mean, and the like. Um, but I've never heard of the walking pants of Fresno before. I think that's interesting, and I can't see anybody, at least.
If you're going to fake something for notoriety or fame or just because you're bored, it does seem like an odd choice.
Yeah, it does seem like an odd choice. So I thought that was a pretty cool video, and yeah, that's what I got on cryptids. So
All right. Well, thanks for listening, folks.
yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll link that video in the description. Comment if you think I'm crazy, if you think I'm right. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of them. And if you've got weird encounters that you've had, things that you can't explain, feel free to shoot us an email at unravelingtheunexplained@gmail.com, because we would love to be able to hear some of your stories and feature them on the show in the future. All right.
Have a good night.
Bye.